Good news, as terrorists yesterday freed 23 remaining captives of the Kaduna train attack in Nigeria. According to the Secretary of the Chief of Defense Staff Action Committee, Usman Yusuf, the hostages were released at about 4 p.m. The kidnap, which sparked nationwide protest and raised questions about the security of Nigeria's rail services, also saw the suspension of the busy Abuja-Kaduna rail corridor.
Kaduna-bound train from Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, had been attacked by terrorists. Reports claim that at least 8 persons were killed, while several others kidnapped. This sparked national condemnation by many Nigerians, including the nation's parliament.
Nowhere is safe. So, Mr. Speaker, if our roads are not safe, if our rails are not safe, and if our airport, which is the beginning point of our airways, are not safe, Mr. Speaker, then it calls for us to suspend everything political.
I don't want us to throw away the statement of the governor of Kaduna State, Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, who said that this bandit lives in the forest, they live in the bush. Our military should put all their efforts together, and they should give a specific time frame for everybody living in this area, if you know you are a normal person, to come out. And they should be bombarded.
If we can be overrun by bandits, what else is remaining? The rails cannot move, the aircraft cannot move, vehicles cannot move.
The families of the victims began a series of protests to compel government to secure the release of their loved ones.
The government need to tell us what are they doing. They have to relate to us. We've been seeking audience. We've come here as individual family. We have come here as a collective family. We have come here as all the group.
We don't say we don't hear anything. And when our people they bush, well, because they say they can't they show, say that they flog them, they beat them. That is why our attention for rise.
We are worried that because what they are asking for 100 million on top of each one person, there are 41 of them now left. 100 million. How can we raise 100 million on top of one person?
Nigeria's president continued to assure that government will do all it can to secure their release, but will not resort to the use of force in order to protect the victims.
We have received several suggestions about the employment of lethal military force in extracting those still being held in captivity. The condition to guarantee a successful outcome and minimize potential collateral damage could not be assured, and therefore that course of action had to be reluctantly discarded.
As hours progressed into days and days into weeks, some family members took over the negotiations for the release of their loved ones directly with the kidnappers. The abductors then began to release those victims in trickles. However, a few moments ago, we had gotten wind that the remaining abducted victims have already been released. We tried to reach the defense headquarters to know the process for their release, whether via military operation or negotiations. The defense headquarters is yet to respond to our inquiries. But for the families of those who have their loved ones safely back into the comfort of their homes, the process of release will mean no essence. New Central Television is keeping tabs on this story and will update you as more information comes in. From Abuja, Amadin Uyi, New Central Television.
Well, thanks to Amadin Uyi for that report, and I think it's fair to say congratulations to the families of those remaining 23 persons. I, did a little reading to see what the longest hostage situation, in history had been. And, there's one in China in 1997 for about 47 days. There's, of course, the Iran holding American diplomats for about 400 days, plus, some of all of that. But these are very different situations. And for the longest time, I always would question, how much Nigerian security has developed. Because I expect now that Nigerian, government, Nigerian security agencies will come out and say that they the terrorists decided to free these hostages because they were scared.
In their goodwill.
No, that's not even goodwill. Goodwill is even good.
Yeah.
They would say that they were scared of the superior firepower of the Nigerian army, and that's why they, had to release them. Those are statements that you would expect.
I mean, we're seeing similar statements because they're saying that we should be eternally grateful to the military for the release of these 23 passengers.
Yeah, so I expect that's what, but these people have been captive for, what, about 6 months or even more. And I would continue to question how much have we developed our security agencies to be able to handle these type of situations. It makes no sense that these things will continue to happen even in 2022 in Nigeria. It also makes no sense, that we can't even verify at this point whether these persons had to pay ransom to be released. You can imagine the amount of money that these terrorists have made in the last couple of months, holding these people hostage. People have quoted billions of naira that have been paid as ransom to these terrorists, and it's not a good look for the Nigerian society.
It's not a good look at all, and it's unfortunate that even the money that is being made, we already know that the money will be converted further into expanding their businesses, buying arms, and ensuring that the business is propagated. Another thing that would be interesting to note is we do know that when conversations about the release of these victims has started, and we're ongoing, part of the demands that we're hearing was that they needed some of their brothers to be released in exchange. It'd be interesting, and I wonder if the government will ever tell us what had to give for these people to come. But we're incredibly grateful that they're out. We're incredibly thankful, and it's not just congratulations to the 23 families, really. It's congratulations to the whole of Nigeria, because what has happened to us is we've become gradually desensitized to kidnapping stories. This was the one that had gotten traction the most. This is the most recent one that got traction, but over the course of the past months and years, it seems like every other week we're hearing stories of one kidnapping, two kidnappings happening in different parts of the country. And people have become desensitized, it's become natural, unfortunately. So it's only then painful when it happens to you or someone within your circle or someone that you know. But I would say that this is congratulations to all of us in Nigeria. And I do hope that the day comes when we win the war against insurgency and kidnapping.
To be honest, I don't think I would accept congratulations, because I still see this as, I don't think anything is better. I think, we Nigerians live a life of simply, as long as it doesn't happen to me, I'm good. So it doesn't concern me directly, if it's not happened to a family member or to, me as a person. And when it affects you, then you may be able to understand how severe the situation is. So I don't think we're there yet.
The congratulations for me is on the fact that we have our citizens and our brothers, our extended brothers and sisters that are back with us.
But there's still dozens of people in captivity.
Well, we have some, so it's minus 23 of them in captivity.
All right.
So that's like a positive angle to look at it from. And because unfortunately, they could have still remained in captivity. And what would you and I do about it?
I agree. But here's the thing, with regards being desensitized, there is no question, there's nothing, at this point that would shock Nigerians anymore. Kidnappings don't shock Nigerians. A terrible economy doesn't shock Nigerians. Death doesn't shock Nigerians. Schools being shut for 8 months doesn't shock Nigerians. There's nothing. They say Nigerians are those people that, you push them to the wall and they push the wall back and keep going back. There's nothing, basically, that shocks us enough.
Our disappointment in humor.
There's nothing that shocks us enough to say enough is enough. Not even the value for human life. And it's definitely not a good look.
Well, I'm holding hope that things will be different. For example, we've been seeing more young people, more people speaking up, being involved in politics and politicking and the economy in the past year. There's some sort of sensitization, I would say. There's an awareness and a drive and a certain frustration that is, being spread around across the country. So I see more people wanting a change, and I'm hoping that the desire is being converted into action and it's not just, mere talk.